Welcome to the XFO Intelligence Podcast. In the world of generational wealth, there's a profound paradox. The very success that builds these immense family fortunes, it often plants the seeds of their own destruction. While financial advisors, they fixate on market volatility and portfolio diversification, the most devastating threat to a family's legacy remains almost entirely invisible. It's a crisis of meaning. And this isn't some philosophical idea. This is a practical reality that determines whether a family thrives across generations or dissolves into dysfunction. When we look at what truly sustains families, a startling truth emerges. Families are meaning-making systems first, and financial entities second. Humans have an innate drive for purpose, so when wealth removes that daily struggle for survival, it doesn't get rid of the need for significance, it amplifies it. Think about the difference. A market crash, that's an external event. It affects an asset class, and you can recover over time using, known strategies. But a crisis of meaning? Seriously, that attacks the very foundation holding the family together. Without a shared purpose, a shared identity, and shared values, no amount of financial engineering can prevent a systemic collapse. So, to understand this, we need to look at the true anatomy of family wealth. It's composed of three interdependent forms of capital. First, there's financial capital, the money, the assets. This is the most visible, sure, but it's the least fundamental. Second is human capital, the skills, the health, emotional intelligence, the relationships within the family. And third, there's intellectual capital, the wisdom, the decision-making frameworks, and crucially, the family's capacity to create meaning. When families focus only on that first bucket, the financial capital, while neglecting human and intellectual development, they create a brittle system. And the evidence is just undeniable. Roughly 70% of family wealth fails to transition to the second generation, and, get this, 90% is gone by the third. This isn't because of bad investments. Directly, it's because of a meaning deficit. And this crisis of meaning, it shows the same destructive patterns at every single level. At the individual level, wealth creates a purpose vacuum. The next generation struggles with their identity. Are they an inheritor or a creator? This leads to seeking external validation and often results in depression, addiction, or other destructive behaviors just to fill that void. At the family level, a lack of shared purpose just amplifies sibling rivalry. It causes conflicts with spouses who don't share the family's values. The next generation disengages entirely when the family has no clear mission beyond just, managing the money. And across generations, the founder's original story and drive, they just erode. The shared identity dissolves into individual agendas, the values decay. The result is the complete dissolution of the family unit, even while the money is still there. The pattern is so consistent. Meaning is a fundamental human need. When it fails at one level, it weakens the entire structure. But here's where it gets truly dangerous. The most revealing insight comes when we see how families respond to combined challenges. A market shock alone, that causes temporary disruption. A meaning crisis alone causes slow fragmentation over decades. But when you combine them, the family experiences exponential decay. A market shock acts as an amplifier for an existing meaning deficit, creating a catastrophic failure. This explains why some families thrive through financial crises while others just collapse under minor stress. The determining factor isn't financial skill, it's meaning density. So, what can be done? The highest impact strategies focus on building the family's meaning architecture, not just its financial portfolio. First, purpose architecture. This means creating a family mission statement that goes beyond just preserving wealth. It means developing meaning metrics to track right alongside your financial KPIs. Second, network resilience. This involves building redundant connections between family members through shared experiences, projects, traditions. You have to decentralize the meaning making so it doesn't all depend on the founder. Third, adaptive rhythms. Structure the family calendar to balance new ventures and learning with the deepening of traditions. Create structured challenges that test the family's resilience in a safe way. And finally, alignment protocols. Ensure that personal purpose connects to the family mission. You should conduct regular meaning audits to detect misalignment early, just as you would audit your finances. We've observed a powerful pattern across the most resilient families, something we call the 70-30 rule. They dedicate approximately 70% of their governance energy to meaning-making activities, purpose, relationships, values, and only 30% to direct wealth management. This simple shift in focus creates 4.5 times greater resilience than in families that reverse these priorities. Now, this doesn't mean neglecting financial stewardship. It means that financial decisions made within a strong meaning framework are inherently more sustainable. The evidence is clear. For wealthy families, a crisis of meaning is the ultimate existential threat, dwarfing market volatility. The greatest families in history, they understood this intuitively. They built meaning architectures that were more robust than their financial portfolios. They knew that wealth without wisdom and assets without aligned values ultimately lead to dissolution. The path forward requires a fundamental shift in thinking, from viewing your family as a wealth preservation vehicle to seeing it as a meaning creation system. The true measure of family success isn't net worth, it's net meaning. Because a market crash tests your financial resilience, but a meaning crisis, it tests your very reason for existence as a family. The greatest risk isn't losing the money, it's losing the reason to stay together. This invisible threat demands visible action. To explore these private insights further and learn about our future events for family office principals and next generation members, we invite you to join the XFO Connect community. To connect with us, send an email directly to xfointelligence@gmail.com. That's xfointelligence@gmail.com. Now, here's a question we'd like you to think about. If you were to apply the 70-30 rule to your family's governance, what is the first change you would make tomorrow?